What is one of the number one things that people walk in my door saying they are concerned with? This is a problem for them. Do you know? Maybe you do. Maybe you don't. All right, I'm going to tell you. So, stage fright, right? People know, okay, great, they're here. They know they want to sing. They know they love it. They love singing karaoke or they love singing in their shower. But what stops them, and they know they want to get better at their voice, but what stops them is this thing called stage fright, right? And it's a real thing. I don't mean to kind of like make it, it's a real thing. And almost 99% of the people walking in my doors who haven't been doing it, this is their big thing. Like, how do you get over that? So today I want to break down some things that I have found to be hugely successful in helping artists get beyond that barrier, that thing that's stopping them from hitting the stage and feeling confident. So let's go. So tip number one, guys, preparation, right? And by this, I mean, there's multiple things with this. Is right, if we don't know how to prepare, then we need to get ourselves around people who can coach you through how do you go about performing. Because I think it's very widely talked about. There's tons of videos on how to better your voice. But like, how do you actually become a good performer is more of a mystery at times that I've at least found with the artists that I speak to, right? And just like someone could be naturally talented vocally, you find some, especially kids, you can think about kids are very confident. They tend to get on stage and they don't have that stage fright. I would say almost everyone goes through this really weird phase. It's almost like the middle school phase where like, all of a sudden there's a self-awareness of other people and what they're going to think, and it almost inevitably comes with even those who are so confident young, where they start to inquire this insecurity, this kind of fear of what others will think, and hence stage fright, right? Because really at the end of the day, stage fright is a lot of just this. It's us thinking like, oh, what are these people going to think of us, right? What are they going to, how are they going to react to us? And that's, again, going back to knowledge is confidence. I don't know what I'm going to do. If I don't know how to prepare for something, how am I going to feel confident about that? How am I going to shake my nerves from that? So being prepared comes down to being like, okay, great, what are the things you can do? Some quick things that I've coached my artists with is write out what you're going to say. And people will find me on this, ironically. They'll be like, I don't want to do that. I want it to be natural. And I'm like, listen, I'm not in the art, like, I'm not in the business to make you be fake. Like, that's the last thing. Authenticity is so important, right? But I'll always do this with my artists too. Those ones that kind of come back and be like, I don't want to write out what I want to say. I want it to be natural. And I'm like, okay, great. This is the show. Go. What are you going to say? They're like, well, you put me on the spot. And it's like, well, what do you think you're going to do if you jump on stage and you don't have it prepared? You're on the spot, right? So think about what you're going to say and then really drill it. Drilling it is going to make it so that it's just more naturally. It's what actors do, right? It's not like a movie's booked and they say, great, we have the theme of the movie, now we need you guys to go and just do your thing. It's like, hello, like, how is this flow going to go, right? So it's the same thing. Think about what you're going to say. And yeah, you know what the truth is? Those first few, you might sound more generic. And that's okay. It's a phase of the progression, and it's not the end product. So don't be discouraged by if you get up and you're like, oh, I just felt like that didn't feel so comfortable or so natural for me. It's okay. The next one, right? The more you do something, the better it gets, which leads me to the next part, right? So preparing is tip number one. And that comes in multiple kinds of things that I would say get with a coach. Drop is common if you need some help in this area. For sure, I'd love to help you. Also drop a comment if you're liking the video so far. And subscribe if you are finding this helpful. That helps me to know that I'm helping you. And I'd really appreciate it, and it helped me a lot. So that being said, be prepared. Get with someone who has done a lot of performing, who's worked and coached other artists, because you're going to think about, what are you going to say to an audience? Who you are, first and foremost, before you even think about what you're going to say to an audience. Another tip is, who are you? What kind of artist are you? What is your show? Do you want to play an instrument? Do you want dancers? Do you want to perform with tracks? Do you want to perform with the band? Like, what feels? And this also too is a process as well. Sometimes you start with certain things and then you're like, you know what? I just don't feel that. And that's okay, guys. That's the evolution of this whole thing. People change, people grow, people decide things differently. It's all right. You can decide one thing at the moment, try it out and decide it doesn't work and shift. That isn't a waste of time. It isn't going to make you less of an artist. It is you doing something and learning more about yourself, which is a win-win. So get yourself with someone, you know, who are you as an artist? What are the kinds of things that you're going to say in front of the audience? How are you moving these things called your arms, your legs? Like, people prepare. Think about artists. Major artists are preparing for their tours for months, guys. What does that kind of say to you that we need to do? That same kind of preparation is not immune to you. Like, we need to be doing the same kinds of things in order for it too, because a professional knows like that's going to lead me to success. So that's what they do in order to lead to that success. So that's what I'd say to you as well. Like, if you want that same kind of level of success and that win in your show, then you need to do the same kind of things. So preparedness, that's kind of tip number one or step number one. And then two is doing, right? The doingness of it. The more you do something, like I just talked about the talking, right? In the beginning it might be like, hi guys, I'm Patrice. You know, like it's a little bit more scripted. It's like an amateur actor compared to one who's like a pro. There's a difference in the delivery of lines. And that's just what happens with us as musicians, as we build our show, as we get comfortable. And this all goes back to two, the more you do it, the more you gain confidence. And it's even just that know-how of like, no, I know I can do this. I've done it, right? Rather than I can't, it shifts that mindset into I can. And that just alleviates that anxiety, that stage fright that comes, right? It's just like, okay, great, I've prepared for this, I'm continuing to do it. And inevitably what happens when you do stuff more is if you're doing it in the right kind of way, you're going to get better. So therefore that, again, just is that snowball effect of the confidence that continues to build. And knowing that too, it's normal to feel that. You are not alone in this, guys. Again, 99%, I would say 99% of the people walking in this door, especially those who have not done it, right? Because again, some who have, they're kind of past that because they've done it. So they're already in that next phase, that next step. But feel that. It's just so common. And one other tip I would say is be mindful of who's around you, right? Because a huge part of this is preparing, doing, but being aware of our mindset, right? Right back to the beginning, what is stage fright? If we even just look at what it is at its raw form, it's a lot of times our own thoughts of insecurity of what others are going to think of us. And there's an element we have to get over, which is I'll say this and I know it sounds weird, but like not everyone's going to like you. It's art, right? Not everyone likes the same art, and that's okay. It's different when people are nasty about it, but again, that just speaks to them. You can't let that stop you, right? That's a lot of times what that is. That negative stuff is just an intention to stop you, because a lot of times it's their own insecurities about maybe what they haven't done that they're just trying to pour on you. And so you can't let that come in, right? And so be mindful of who's around you, because sometimes too, those little birds that chirp in, it's like, what do you think you're doing? Oh, your little music thing. Oh, I don't really like that kind of style of music. You should be doing this over here. And it just starts to accumulate. And it's okay. I mean, you need to be able to get constructive criticism or feedback. I would say more than anything, constructive feedback that's going to help you. But there's a big difference between those who just kind of like are there to help you. And it's really just to create some noise in your head. And those who are going, hey, like, this is what I like about what you're doing, and this, maybe you could work on this area here. And these are the things. I always say if something's going to be valuable to take as feedback, they got to be backed with, like, how am I going to help you improve that, right? Because if you don't know how to help me improve that, and you're just kind of giving me, then, like, where are you leaving me? How is that information even helpful at all, right? So that really isn't helpful. And that should be the intent of feedback, is to help you. And when you get help, you get better, and you're not feeling bad about yourself, right? I mean, you might feel like, kind of like, oh, I wish I was in a different place, but like, there's going to be a terminal of hope with that, right? So that's what I would say with stage fright, is just get yourself prepared, do it over, and be really mindful of the people around you and your own thoughts, right? Because a lot of times we don't know what people are thinking. But what people will really gravitate towards is someone who's authentically themselves. Whether they like that style of music or not, I think people can appreciate an artist who is just true to themselves. And when you're up on stage and you're talking and it's from the heart, or it's funny, or whatever it may be, when you're just being you, is in the artist kind of way, I guess, is what people really gravitate towards. And don't worry. Don't worry about what the others are thinking in the sense of like trying to please everyone, because it's an unrealistic goal at times, right? So let's let that out and really focus on the other two, which will allow us to get past that stage fright. So again, if this helped you guys, I know I love I'm getting some awesome views. I think the channel just hit 250,000. That's like 250,000 views. For me, that's huge. But I know that if there's that many views and not that many subscribers, that like, oh my God, guys, not that many people are hitting that button, and I'd love to see that. That helps me know that I'm reaching you guys and that you're finding this content valuable, and I would really, really appreciate it. It would mean the world. So subscribe, like, comment, all that helps me so I can continue to, hopefully, the goal is help you.